Hey, yep, can you hear me? I don't know. You should be able to hear me. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm okay. I was distracted. Yep. You got what? Hmm. Uh, okay. You gonna go? No, I'm talking to Holly. Patrick's stepping outside. She usually goes with him. Go on. It's their nightly ritual. Oh, now mine is doing it. Uh, okay, let's see. I can't hear anything. Hmm. Um, I can hear you. Okay. Is it giving you any feedback? Okay. All right, I think we're okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll do it. I haven't really looked at anything yet because I'm bad. Okay. Huh? Okay, you do. Huh? Um, I was just messing with my camera lens a little bit. Well, if that's really what you want to do. Oh, God. Oh God. Oh, right. Well, see, that's part of the problem with religions in general is interpretation of, ancient texts that aren't even translated correctly. Yeah. Yeah, well, the Bible is pretty much, it's like the, you know, trash novel of its time. It's got all kinds of sex and violence and nasty shit in there. I wouldn't let a child read it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, see, that's the crux of the issue, isn't it? It's because when you don't teach ethics, but instead give people sets of rules to follow, they you take over the thinking part for them. And then it's easy for that person to fall in the trap of, I have this set of rules that I need to follow. It doesn't matter if the rules are good or bad, it just matters that I obey. And that leads to the feeling of oppression within them. And oppressed people naturally don't want to be oppressed, but they have this indoctrination so deeply within them that they believe that if they don't continue to be oppressed, they're bad people. So, how does that express itself? How does it release itself into the wild, so to speak? Is the oppressed becomes the oppressor. They must judge and oppress others to make themselves feel good about their situation. Yeah. Well, and kind of everything comes back to the three things: sex, power, money. And religion is just one tool. It's a very powerful tool, but it's just one tool. There are other ways, but it's a very powerful and effective tool that has been used for centuries on the human population by other humans to control them. And the reason that they want to control them is so that they can be in charge of who has the sex, who has the power, who has the money. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, if you study ethics, and I don't want to get into this too heavily tonight because I can go on for a minute about ethics, because I've made a study of them for many years, but there are some basic human truths within ethics that sort of um, cross all boundaries in humanity, cultures, societies, regions, all peoples, basically all over the world, kind of naturally adhere to just five things that that all the rules can be categorized by. So, you have truthfulness, you know, that is sort of a baseline for in within society. If you're not truthful, it doesn't matter if you're here, it doesn't matter if you're in Uganda, it doesn't matter if you're in Russia, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're not truthful, then people will judge you for that and not like that. That is breaking a standard ethic. So you have truthfulness, you have fairness, you have respect. Is respect for another person's autonomy, not blind respect, but the concept of basically you do you in today's vernacular. Responsibility, which is, personal responsibility. So that's the not blaming your faults and actions on either other people or deity. The devil didn't make you do shit, Charlotte. So, um, so you have those universal basic ethics, and if you follow those, the reason that those aren't talked about more or pushed more in religion is because if you have those tools, you no longer need the rules. You no longer need anybody to tell you what the rules are because if you're given the rule, honor thy mother and father, what does that fall under? That falls under respect. If you're given the rule, um, you know, don't don't kill people, don't murder. That also falls under respect for personal autonomy. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and that's actually that I sent you that TikTok a few days ago that kind of talked that sort of touches on this a little bit about how um, the theory that the God of the Bible is basically the bad guy. Mhm. What is this? A story you made up? Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I really kind of, that theory is probably going to stick with me for a while because it just makes so much sense. Yes, that, you know, that it says right in there, the downfall of humanity will be the pretender, the person that or the deity that everybody thinks is they should follow, when in reality that deity is telling them to do awful things, oppress other people, kill other people. Yes. So yes. So if you go by that, and more people than not. Okay. So that means the people that have the majority religion. And who is that? Yep. Well, the difference is awareness. Yeah. Well, I mean, that goes with the whole idea of man's ultimate hubris, is the idea that they think that there's a deity or God out there that really gives a shit about, them sitting in their living room masturbating. Yeah. I know that you have the theory that it this rule was made up because, people needed to make sure that babies were created. But I don't think it's that. No, I think it boils down to jealousy. Yeah. So, okay, think about who wrote the Bible. It's a bunch of men, right? Right. Bunch of men, right. Bunch of men wrote this Bible, and at a time when they were trying to really oppress and gain control, even more so, over women. So, think about it from their perspective. They're if they're going out in the field all day working or whatever it is that they're doing back in biblical times, and they come home and they want to get their frisky on with the wife, and the wife's like, "Nope, took care of that already." So what's the first thing I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write a freaking book that says God said you can't do that anymore. That's where I think it comes from. And then because the women were like, "Oh, what? We have to. We're bad now if we do. Well, you're gonna be bad now too, motherfucker." Yep. And so that got rolled into this rule too. Is you know because there's the stupidest, perception that women's sex drives aren't as strong as men, and yeah, it's like I don't, maybe at certain points during their lives it's different, but I know a lot of crazy women that are very jealous and unhappy if they think of their man as even, you know, having a stray thought about jacking off, you know? Usually younger women. By the time you get a little older, you get over that. But younger women are very possessive of their you know, they don't want them doing that. Yep. Well, yeah. What that woman was is an extremist, which unfortunately is becoming more and more prevalent. There's extremism is becoming a lot more prevalent, and but you know, it's not scholarly what she's saying at all. It has no premise in modern or ancient religion. It's just how she feels, which is, we have an epidemic of entitlement going on. And part of that entitlement movement, if you will, is the whole idea that if I think something or I feel some way, I don't have to have any facts whatsoever to back that up. It's just the truth, and what I say is reality now. So you got a whole slew of people just making shit up wholesale and thinking that, convincing themselves even this is the truth with absolutely no research or anything at all to back that up. They just thought that shit up in their messed up little head, and now that they've spouted it out their mouth, they'll stick to that forever. well, I don't think that that is really. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too cynical and too jaded to have this conversation. But honestly, that woman is probably diddling herself morning, noon, and night. I mean, it is. It has been my experience that many of the people that espouse the harshest judgment against others are doing the worst things behind closed doors. Yes. And so I can't help but look at the majority of Christian people, and I'm saying the majority because I don't mean all of them, because I do know a few who aren't extremists and who are very good people, but there are many, many more than those few good ones that are complete and utter hypocrites that will go to church on Sunday and say hallelujah as the guy behind the pulpit is telling them masturbation is bad, gays are bad, all this shit is bad. And then they go home and they do all the things that they agreed with while they were in church, but they keep that a secret. Uh, well, we're probably gonna have to have the whole discussion about the veracity of marriage on some other podcast because that's, yeah, yeah, we could do that. So I guess my what I was trying to say there, to come back to that point is whoever that lady was that was saying all that stuff. Oh, you can't even if you have a wet dream, that's a sin too. Okay, I would lay money that this is happening to her all the time. But she's never gonna say that or admit that because, she's made it up in this little narrative in her head where uh, that's bad. I don't know. You'd have to. Hmm? Well, it has been my experience that if there is a way to make people more miserable, that's the interpretation that the Christians are going with. See, what did I tell you? Yeah, so basically that is saying the same thing that I told you earlier, that this woman was just, a religious extremist and doesn't really know what she's talking about. Holly? Holly? Where are you? Hang on a second. Holly! Holly! I lost her. Okay, she's under the covers. Never mind. Sorry. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not only disgusting, it's a breeding ground for hypocrisy. Don't shame my dog for being a horny little beast. Is that why you like her so much? She suits your personality. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that things are this way, but they've been this way for generations. You know, the whole let's mess people up because we want to control them. Yep. Fun times. That is not where I thought you were going to go with that. I was afraid for a minute. Yeah, tune in next time when we talk about how marriage sucks. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Bye, everyone.